Welcome to week 81 of the Monday Night Wars. This is the WCW side. Week 81, the 85th episode of Nitro, but the 81st week, they go head to head. Nitro beats Raw in the ratings 3.2 to 2.8. So the nWo storyline is really going good for the WCW. This was just a 1 hour episode. Nitro through 81 weeks has 62 wins to WWF's 17 and 2 draws overall. So a 62, 17, and 2 record. It's clear that WCW is dominating the WWF right now, even though they just won the ratings by 0.4 on this week. This Nitro with the 3.2 rating was the first hour of Nitro, is the only hour due to the NBA playoffs, I do believe. So it's the living legend Larry Zbyszko with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Tony Schiavone. We open up with a shot of an nWo banner as it pops open over the WCW banners on the side, and it says nWo for life, bite me. And all the crowd, it's just nothing but rain, papers and rain, raining papers of little white posters that say nWo for life, tradition bites. So we got the nWo black banners covering the WCW banners in the ring, and we got little white signs falling everywhere in the crowd that says nWo for life, tradition bites. Flair, Green, and Piper are at the stage, and they want to talk, but all these papers are falling, so they go crazy, and they head to the ring. The opening Nitro video package plays. Pyros go. Then they start the promo in the ring. Kevin Green, the football player, Roddy Piper, and Ric Flair talking about the nWo and pretty much cutting a promo on them. Piper just blasts them, as does Flair. Piper was going to be asked why he didn't help Flair last week, but he sees paper and all this paper, and then he repeats, "This is all I see is paper, paper, paper." J.J. Dillon comes down the aisle as well. He looks mad. He says, "We know Bischoff has cut sweet deals with the nWo. They get 75% of the house." And Schiavone's asking, what kind of sweet deals are these? And same with everybody else. We're all wondering what kind of deals these nWo guys are running. What kind of deals Bischoff is cutting with. And Bischoff has cut sweet deals with the nWo, and that's what Piper knows. And Flair is saying the same thing that Piper's saying, that it's all a bunch of crap. And he says that Syxx, you're mine, boy. At Slamboree in the 6-man tag. And Flair says there's a road paved. There's not going to be a pothole in the road. As they stand united, making their presence known, they'll be ready for WCW Slamboree against the nWo. That was the main message of the opening segment. But Flair and Piper did a better job of explaining it than I did. You just have to watch the show. Hugh Morris and Conan take on the Public Enemy. We got Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock taking on both members of the Dungeon of Doom. What they did here was interesting. They kind of set tables up around the ring, and all I could think about during this match is how ahead of their time they were. Obviously with the Dudley Boys and the WWF in the year 2000, Public Enemy was doing this stuff. I mean, ECW was really ahead of its time, but the WCW did a lot of things on Nitro before Raw did. ECW did it first usually, but WCW Nitro was doing it before Monday Night Raw. So the tables are set outside. There's papers all over the ground because of the nWo papers falling from the roof much earlier. They send up a double-decker of tables around the ring with Conan in between the two tables, and he flies through them, does Johnny Grunge, so that takes him out of the equation. Johnny Grunge crashes right through the two tables onto the floor. Rocco Rock in the ring, choked out by Hugh Morris, and then the two teams continue to brawl, but it's 2-on-1. Rocco Rock, with the only member of the Public Enemy in the ring, springboard moonsault off the ropes onto both members of the Dungeon of Doom, who eventually powerbomb Rocco Rock. The Dungeon of Doom taunt him on the top ropes. A 2-on-1 continues, and then they run into each other as Rock sat down. Rocco Rock sets up a table. Rocco Rock controls both guys and then sets them up on the table, but Hugh Morris goes through the superplex to Rocco Rock onto the table, through him, and Rocco Rock gets pinned by Hugh Morris. So the Dungeon of Doom win in the end, and it wasn't originally clear who got the pinfall, even though it was clear who got suplexed through the table, and that's Rocco Rock, the only surviving member of the Public Enemy at the time. But he got slammed right through the table, and that's a win for the Dungeon of Doom. I rated it a star and 3/4. Next, we have the nWo Syxx defending his Cruiserweight title against Rey Mysterio Jr. if for otherwise means this would be a classic match if it was any other time, but Syxx wasn't in his wrestling gear, and it was clear that this wasn't going to be much of a match because of it. Syxx was in his jeans with an nWo shirt, so we figured this would just be a beatdown or a brawl, not a match, and we would be right if we had that assumption. The Outsiders and Syxx are out here. They came out with Syxx. And going for a Bronco Buster, Rey gets his legs up and he drop kicks Syxx as he went for a Bronco Buster in the corner while Rey was laying in the corner waiting for the Bronco Buster. Both Outsiders got drop kicked, but then all of a sudden Nash distracted the referee and Scott Hall grabbed Rey Mysterio Jr. and hits the Razor's Edge, or the Outsider's Edge. And then Syxx hits a buzz killer to Rey Mysterio Jr. and retains the title with the submission. Nick Patrick and J.J. Dillon come to the ring. They're irate. Bischoff has the same group out. Tradition bites, and Bischoff sends them back their way. The nWo get in the face of J.J. Dillon, and Syxx and Nash talk about how they're not going to put up with the crap similar to what they put up with McMahon. They're not going to put up with J.J. Dillon that way. Next segment, the nWo theme, and the biggest icon in wrestling is said as Hollywood Hogan and Bischoff come out. Bischoff talks about when he's going to tear Sting's head off because he's been getting calls from nWo headquarters, and they're wondering where Hogan is because he's been filming movies the last few weeks. And when is he going to take Sting's head off? And Hogan says in all due time, but he feels so good that the Outsiders and Syxx will take care of Flair, Green, and Piper, says Hogan. Hogan calls Sting out, and Bischoff says, there you go, no Sting, he's a coward. Hogan rips his shirt and flexes to his muscles to the segment, to the nWo music. Typical nWo promo with Bischoff, talking about how sweet they are and how on top they are. Regal comes out, Meng follows as Regal's going to take them out. Two legit tough guys. They were hitting each other with stiff shots. He then says, this man is a savage, talking about Meng. And it comes full circle with Sullivan and Jacqueline come running out. Meng won't let a death grip off Regal, so no rating for the match. He just won't let the death grip off, and even Jacqueline and Sullivan are like, come on, Meng, let Regal go. So that Tonga death grip was tough to get out of. They show a Macho Man DDP build-up video. DDP comes out with a promo with Kimberly. DDP says he grew up in the nightclub from the Jersey Shore all the way to Florida. He's been in more bar fights than he can remember, so he's not afraid of Savage. Kimberly says there's a light road on the road of his one-track mind, but it's carrying a light load. Savage comes out in the corner and says, "Your lies, woman. DDP, what kind of man are you?" And such. And Savage says Kimberly's lying, that he loves him. And DDP says, come and bring it, Savage. Savage says, I got to kick your ass. But Savage says, I ought to kick your ass. He doesn't because of the crutches he has. But he says his leg is getting better and better, so DDP better watch out. Next, we got Alex Wright in a match with Jeff Jarrett, who wins by figure four when he goes for the ankle. Slaps on the submission, gets the victory, 3/4 of a star. Glacier takes on Liz Mark Jr. in Liz Mark's opening appearance on Nitro. Glacier wins in about 10 seconds as he hits a thrust kick. Mortis after the match and Brian Clark with a mask come out to take on Glacier, and they brawl to end the show in the wrestling part of the show ending anyway. The show actually ends with Harlem Heat coming out to the ring, and I gave that 1/4 of a star instead of a dud. I don't like to give out duds, even if the match is 10 seconds. They end the show with Harlem Heat coming out and taking on Luger and the Giant, but they're waiting for DDP to be partners for a potential tag match. That doesn't happen because the nWo come out and attack them in the ring. Then DDP comes out with Kimberly to save them, but Macho Man distracted DDP by the stage area on crutches. Hollywood Hogan hit him with the crutch from behind, and then both them and Kevin Nash continued to beat on DDP, choking him out with the crutch. Kimberly was there by the side screaming for her man. Fans chant for Sting as the nWo are beating on Luger, Giant, and the Harlem Heat in the ring, which is why they can't run to DDP's aid at the front of the stage. And the nWo pretty much dominate to end the show. They're on top of DDP at the stage area, and they're on top of Harlem Heat and Luger and the Giant inside the ring. Sting doesn't end up coming out, but the fans chant for him. Hogan and Savage then go on commentary and pretty much make jabs at Kimberly and talk about how they have her and they took her out on the block and all this. And as the nWo are pretty much in control to end the episode. I gave this episode a 5 out of 10 for a 1-hour show. This was nothing to write home about, just an average 1-hour Nitro. I might be being too rough on it, giving a 5 out of 10. It was pretty quality with the DDP Savage stuff, Hogan and Sting build, but at the same time, we didn't get a classic match or anything. So 5 out of 10 for this one. We'll see you guys in the next Nitro when it should be 2 hours after this one. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.